Venezianico are at it again. We all know that they love to show off their brilliance through innovative materials. From bronze and titanium in their cases, to Damascus and 24-karat gold treatments in their dials. And today, we have an update to my favourite release of 2024. That's right. It's the Arsenale. I've linked this one in the description and it will be available from the 5th of May. If you are interested, make sure you check that out. My name is Jason. I'm your watch guy today. Let's get into it. If you saw my last review of the Arsenale with the meteorite dial, then you will be familiar with this setup. So I'll get to the rest of the piece and the case setup after I tell you why this dial is so special and relevant to the brand from Venice. This dial absolutely glows thanks to that aventurine glass material. For me, it really mimics a clear starry night. The link that Venezianico have to this material goes all the way back to the 17th century, when it's said that Venetian glassmakers made a very happy mistake and discovered this material. Shards of copper fell into a blue glass mixture, and today the tradition of still making this glass material lives through Venetian furnaces. Venezianico have converted this incredible method of art into their dials, and for me, nothing suits art more than the Arsenale line. It's the absolute perfect marriage to me. Along with that, the latest models have a printed minute track to the lower section of the outer dial. That gives us some added legibility, but above that, it also helps to give the indexes a more floating aesthetic. There's a loom signature that flows through the highly polished handset into those highly polished index markers. Again, this adds some functionality to the piece that was missing in the earlier iterations. The quality of loom is what you would expect from this price range. It is well applied, but it definitely fixes some of the gripes that you guys had in the first release. The star-like aesthetic to that dial is accented really well by the high polished handset, as well as the high polished logo, which is applied and almost again feels like it's floating above the dial. The pencil thin second hand, again something that was added to the later models, has a beautiful high beat sweep to it. That comes from the Miyota 9039 movement, which is packed into the back of this piece and runs it. The 9000 series Miyotas are probably some of my favourite movements in this price bracket. It keeps the prices reasonable, but also performs like it's a Swiss movement. That's with a 28,800 beats per hour sweep, as well as a 42-hour power reserve, and a -10 to +30 second deviation per day. As well as that, it allows Venezianico to keep this watch beautifully thin. It comes in just below 10mm thick. That's with the dial additions to the later models, and honestly it wears absolutely beautifully thanks to two factors. Obviously, the dimensions of a 40mm diameter and a 44mm lug to lug does not hurt whatsoever. It keeps it in a sports aesthetic bracket, but with that shorter lug to lug makes it very comfortable for an everyday wear. The second factor is something that I haven't experienced from Venezianico before, but I'm super glad that I did. It's of course this integrated rubber band. The navy blue works really well with the dial, adding a little bit more colour to the piece overall. The buckle is beautifully finished, with factors of high polished finish and brushing to the centre parts. I love that they've also almost mimicked the chamfered edges through the casing into the band, with that more gloss-like finish to the outer edge of it. I know this isn't the jewellery-like finish that you get with the Canova bracelet, and I love that bracelet, I really do, but this really brings it into a more sports-like bracket, and I'm a massive fan of that for this piece in particular. I think it's the perfect way to carry this watch on an everyday basis, especially as we are coming into the summer months. For me, yes, the dial is beautiful, but the thing that brings me back to this watch or this line every time is that casing. Obviously, the changes have opened this up to so many new consumers. And yes, the dial materials are fantastic. Meteorite, Aventurine, Musu Black. We've got so many options now, but the way that this case is finished and presented is really what brings me in every time, and I'm sure it'll be the basis of so many future releases. The sharp angles towards the lugs really bring in that integrated sports piece type of aesthetic for me, but the accents of the high polish throughout the curves of the case really brings that alive and highlights the beauty of this finishing. I love the heavy chamfers along the sides. It's already an ultra thin piece, but in hindsight that really brings it down even thinner. And it's perfect in how they meet the brushed surfaces. The ornate crown remains, and I absolutely adore the intricacies that Venezianico put into their crowns and case backs. The case back on this piece is the classic view of the Venetian Arsenale, which obviously gives this line its name. The bezel is definitely a huge highlight to me. The two-flake edge to it really brings alive a more rugged elegance in my mind. And obviously that holds a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating to ensure the visibility of this dial is top tier. I'm obviously in love with these pieces. This is the third one that I've reviewed, and as I said, this was my favourite release of 2024. And coming into 2025, they've only gotten better with every release. At €800, I think this is the perfect answer to those who want an integrated sports piece with a little bit more class and elegance to it, but don't want to spend thousands of pounds. That does not mean that it escapes the moan section though. We are obviously inclusive to all brands here. I think the main issue that we can bring out in this piece is definitely the water resistance rating. It's 50 meters, which is low in the grand scheme of things. I know that a lot of sports pieces sit at 50 meters, but in the wider market, it is going to be considered as splash proof. Again, not uncommon in sports pieces, but something that I have to pick up on. Another note is one from the comment section of the first video. A lot of people said that the price was a little bit too high, but for me, I think it's overly reasonable. It's well worth €800. Honestly, this may just be a seeing is believing type of case, because I know as soon as I got one of these in hand, it absolutely blew the vendors and the pictures that I'd seen out of the water. The highlights, the polish, the bezel, the dials, it's just so much more to comprehend when you see it in person, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Every release that Venezianico have sent to me, I've absolutely adored, and this one is no different. It's really one of those beauties that you have to see in person, and the starry night effect that the Aventurina brings to this line is absolutely stunning, and it just highlights the piece for me. Thanks for watching today, guys. I have obviously enjoyed this watch just as much, if not more, than the first two iterations. And honestly, I love showcasing them to you. I owe a huge thanks to Venezianico for sending this one in for release day, and I can't wait to work with them again. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more watch content, and I will see you in the next one.